Guys, I welcome you all to day 45 of our anthropology lecture series. So today we are going to complete the chapter political anthropology. So yeah, let's get started. We have already completed most of the chunk of this chapter, but even then a very important topic that we are going to cover today, it is left. So let's start. We have already talked about band. We've already talked about band, tribes, and then we had talked about chiefdoms, right? So today we are going to do the last thing, that is modern state. So modern state, or you can say chiefdom or modern state के बीच में there was archaic states that was not as complex as the modern states and not as not like the chiefdoms or kingdoms, because here the power was concentrated in a lot fewer people, right? But when the archaic states came, you can just imagine as the European feudalistic states, right, where there used to be feudal lords. Who were these feudal lords? Basically, these were the people who used to have a lot of land and property, and by virtue of that estates, right, they controlled the people because they had a lot of resources at their hand, right? So that was the archaic state. You do not need to read much about it, this much is fine. And then came your modern states like today. There are a lot of you can say many kinds of modern states that exist today. There are democracies. In democracy also there are presidential systems, then there are prime ministerial systems, or you can say parliamentary systems, right? So what are the features of modern states? That they have a proper territory, right? They have proper territory, they have structured way, right? The power or authority is very structured, right? Who is going to make the laws, who are going to implement it, how the things are going to happen, it is very structured, right? So all these things, the complexity is too much, right? We have agencies like judiciary, police, right, to actually keep the society in a controlled way. So these are some of the features of modern states, and you can write others also. In modern states, religion कैसा होता है? Religion is also very structured, right? But then there could be polygamy, monogamy, many of them exist even today. Then people do not believe in superstitions as much. The political authority again depends upon who has the political authority. For example, in a democracy, it could be indirect democracy, direct democracy. So this is all that you had to read in the modern state. You all know about what are the modern states. So yeah, this topic is finished for us. The next topic is very important again, power, authority and legitimacy. So this is one topic, and then the law and justice in simple societies, and we'll be done with this chapter. So let's start with the power, authority and legitimacy. Now these words in our day-to-day times we use interchangeably. We do not know exact meaning of these words. So you have to think that as much as we use it loosely, the terms have a very different meaning, right? So there are differences between the terms. So let's start with power. Power, as per Weber, is a chance to men to realize their will in a communal action against the resistance of the others who are participating in the action. Now if you do not understand it, I'll tell you. The point is that for example, I say this is person A and this is a group of people, right? This is a group of people, and this person is able to exercise his control. That means in this group of 6 people including A, what A wants, that is happening, right? What B wants, C wants, D, E, F wants, that is not happening. That means this person has the power, right? And power क्या होती है? Power is to realize your own will in a communal action. Communal action means in a group action, right, where you are not alone. See, if I have rupees 10 and I want to eat ice cream and I eat it, that is not power, right? Because that is my individual choice, that is my wish that I'm using on myself. But there are 5 people who all have rupees 10 and I force them to eat ice cream despite the fact that others wanted to have some other thing, right? That is power. So power is to realize your own will in a communal action against the wishes of others who are participating in the action. That means everybody wanted to spend this 10 rupees, but I forced them to eat only ice cream from that 10 rupees. You understand now? So Kautilya, Socrates, Plato, they all gave a lot of importance to power, called it the basis of human life. Of course, like we know that Kautilya was very intelligent, right? He wrote the Arthashastra and how, the politics, administration should happen. But he also talked about power. Power क्या है? Power is your ability to influence others. अगर मैं simply बोलना चाहूँ, and to make them work in your way, what you want from them. That is power. And Kautilya, Socrates, Plato, they all thought that it is the basis of human life, because humans are genuinely, or you can say in general, they are the dominating species, right? That is why today, from being such small petite body sizes, we are dominating the world, right? So we have that kind of to influence others, or to take to overpower others, right? We have that quality. So they all said that it is the basis of human life. And power बहुत सारे तरीके से आती है. It could be positional power, again ये हम पढ़ेंगे. Positional power, you can also call it as authority. We are going to read about it. Then legitimate power. Legitimate power क्या होती है? What is legitimacy? We are going to read it also. But मैं आपको बताती हूँ, legitimate is which comes from a popular viewpoint. For example, in many societies, in traditional Hindu society, it used to be believed that there should be only within caste marriages, right? So for them, the legitimate kind of marriage would be only within caste marriage. Intercaste marriage or interreligious marriage is not legitimate, because that is not the popular opinion. That is wrong or right, doesn't matter. Legitimate is which has the popular sanction, right? So then indirect, direct हो सकती है. Direct कैसे होगी? For example, from a officer to its subordinate, that is direct power he exercises on the person. Or from father to son, that is also like a kind of direct power, right? And then coercive power, that means like you use it by force. You try to convince or make the other person do what you want through force. Then comes, I think power is clear. Now comes authority. In loose terms, if we have to say, we can say power with legitimacy. What is power? Influence others. ठीक है? Doesn't matter if that is through brute force, persuasion, anything, but you are able to influence others. Legitimacy is popular sanction. So legitimacy के साथ power becomes authority. Okay, that means you are able to influence others, and that influence over others is understood as legitimate. That means people accept that. People accept your influencing others. That becomes authority. So command, which are effective because those who are commanded regard the command as legitimate. That means you are commanding somebody, and the people you are commanding, they think that it is right, or they accept your authority. That becomes power. में क्या हो रहा था? The other people could have felt that this is not the right thing to do. But in authority, the difference is that people accept it also. That becomes authority. So it comes from the position. Very important word, position, because authority is linked to a position that you're holding. ठीक है? So Weber talked about 3 kind of authorities: charismatic authority, legal authority, and traditional authority. We are going to talk about this now. So basically, let's take example for each one of them, and then to understand this will become very easy. In traditional, you take the example of a father or the head of the household. You can take example of head of the household. Okay? In charismatic, today you can take the example of our Prime Minister Narendra Modi ji. Okay? Take his example. And legal rational, you take any like IAS officer ki example. Okay? Any IAS officer that you like. So now, traditional power, traditional authority जो है, that is legitimized by long standing custom. Of course, today your father is the head of the household. When you will become old, you will become the head of the household. So this power comes from a long standing tradition or custom that is followed, right, in our Indian culture. So it comes from there. The charismatic power comes from the leader's personal quality. That means, for example, if PM Modi ji has the aura that he can influence people through his speeches, through his actions, that is his personal qualities, right? So that is charisma. Charisma is some person's charm, right? His own charm gives him that authority and people accept it. जैसे गांधी जी के पीछे लोग इतना क्यों चलते थे? Because he was so charismatic that he could woo people with his speech, his actions, right? So it comes charismatic में गांधी जी भी आ सकते हैं. Then legal rational, it comes from a authority resides in the office and not the person. For example, today you are DM of some district, so you will have the power or authority, right? Tomorrow you will be transferred to some other place and somebody else comes in your place, then that same power or authority will go to that DM, right? So that becomes legal rational. It comes from the office and not the person, right? So I think Weber's 3 types of authority we are clear, right? There should be no doubt about this. Now comes the third term, that is legitimacy. We have already talked about, it's the popular sanction, right? So see, you have to devise these kind of words for you to understand it, right? Whereby an act, process, ideology becomes legitimate by attachment to norms or values of the society. Again, same example you can take. When there used to be the Chaturvarn system and it was so rigid that people would not go for intercaste marriages, right? Intercaste marriages, and even today many Indian Hindu traditional families, they do not go for intercaste marriages because they do not find it to be legitimate, right? That means they do not believe in it, right? So that is what it is. So features क्या होंगे legitimacy के, that they are culturally bound. That means if it is a part of their culture, that thing would provide legitimacy to something. For example, if Western population they do not think about inter-religion, inter-caste like that, so it's okay for them, right? Then it involves right decision making, of course. So basically legitimacy से क्या होता है? You will take the right decisions. For example, in a society where intercaste marriages are not allowed, you will marry within your caste, and that would be the right decision for you because you feel that that is the popular opinion, that is the popular sanction. So I will also do this and it will make me take the right decision, right? So it also makes you comply with the decisions. That means you wanted to marry in an intercaste, but you did not because the popular sanction was not with it. So you married in your own caste. So it made you comply with the decisions that are culturally bound, right? So sustain political reasonableness. For example, if you say in a democratic setup, even though there is a government, but it is not, you can say the elections were rigged, okay? So elections were rigged and you did not choose that government, okay? So will it have the legitimate sanction? It will not have, because elections rigged the, though the government will work democratically, but you did not elect it. So it did not have the political reasonableness, right? So I hope this topic is also clear. Power, authority, legitimacy, the terms which are like very intricately woven with each other, are often used with each other, but then also have a lot of different meaning, right? So I hope I've made it clear to you. So एक और attached topic, though it was not there in the books itself, but I just put it so you understand. एक और term है which is social control, which is very related to authority, legitimacy, all of this power. Basically, what is social control? Society's control, right? Society's control over you would be social control. That even, for example, even till today, many societies, including Indian societies, do not allow for same-sex marriages, right? Same-sex marriages, or homosexuality, because that was not part of the culture as per the societies that believe in it. It is not part of the culture, right? So ultimately, the people who, even if they want to marry the people from their same sex, will not, because social control is there. So what is social control? Designating a social behavior which conforms individual towards established behavior. Established behavior क्या है? A man only will marry a woman. So it is always going to be a man and a woman. It can never be man and man, woman and woman. ठीक है? ऐसा बहुत सारे ट्राइब्स में नहीं होता. दिस डजंट हैपन इन मेनी ट्राइब्स. फॉर एग्जाम्पल इन अशंती ट्राइब वेयर सेम सेक्स मैरिजेस आर अलाउड. दैट मीन्स उनके लिए दिस इज नॉट द एस्टैब्लिश्ड बिहेवियर. बट फॉर मेनी western modern societies, it was once what is IPC? It's a colonial time law, ठीक है, which had criminalized homosexuality. So that means even in the colonial or British history, once same sex marriages were not allowed, right? So what is it? If a woman and a woman wants to marry, or man wants to marry, they cannot marry, because that is not the established behavior. Okay, so this is how social control takes place. Then need क्या है? It will re-establish old social systems. Again वही वाली बात आ गई. If the society believes that only man and woman should marry, so that is what they will reiterate from time and time again, that it is only man and woman who should marry, right? And not any other person. It regulates the individuals, हमने बात कर ली. Then it will create social unity, because basically क्या होता है? Social control क्या है? All those laws, not laws, but all those rules, regulations, moral customs that govern that society. For example, in Indian culture, we very graciously treat all the people who come and visit us, right? हम अतिथि देवो भव में विश्वास करते हैं, right? So any person who will be disgraceful towards any other person, right? We think that this is wrong. This is not something which should be done. So all the people in the society would somewhere down the line have similar morals, similar ideas, and that creates a social unity that lessens the conflicts in the groups. ठीक है ना? तो conflicts कम होंगे because there are similar morals, values followed by all. So it will in turn create social unity, solidarity, right? And social sanction तो है ही है. That means society debars something you cannot do. For example, incest. Incest is a complete no-no in almost all the societies. That means there's a social sanction. You cannot do it. If you do it, then there'll be like ostracization from the group and all of that. Then check cultural maladjustments. Of course, society has its own customs which is part of their culture, right? And any person who deviates from these, ठीक है ना, basically social sanction उस पे लगाया जाएगा. और social control वो है that doesn't let you deviate from the established customs, right? So I think this is clear now. So there are two kind of social control. One is the informal one, which would mean the norms, values, customs, and then there'll be formal, that is through law, through education. These are the moral and the new kind of social controls, right? Established behavior की तरफ लेके जाएंगे. If right to equalities are fundamental right, that means it will be given to every person in the country. That is social control. That means you cannot take away anybody's equality, right to equality. Now, law and justice in simple society. This is our last topic for the day. Basically, what is a law? You should understand that as per Hobel, law is an institution that checks deviation from the accepted norms in the society. हमने बात कर ली. For Indian society, what is the accepted norm? That means accepted norms क्या है हमारे लिए? That there will be equality, there will be fraternity, there will be brotherhood, there will be equal opportunities given to all, there will be freedom of religion, right? Conscience. These are the laws, accepted norms in the society that are enshrined in the rule book. Rule book क्या है? Our Indian Constitution. So this is what law is. That means anybody who will deviate from the these norms that are enshrined in our rule book would actually be the one who will break the law, right? But this is about modern societies, right, where we have very systematized way of defining everything. We have it written in our rule books, right? We have specified agencies. Judiciary hai, there is police, there is lawmakers, everybody has their own work, separation of power is there, everybody will do their own work. But can this be applied to the simple or primitive societies which do not even have any script, which do not even have any rule books as such like we have? Nahi na. But and so if we have to see it from the perspective of this, so we would say that maybe there is no law, there is no enforcement, there is no way to keep check on the people in the primitive societies. But it is not true. It is not true, because if we see, the function of law is to make social relations orderly. That means nobody should deviate from the common accepted norm. If the accepted norm is incest taboo, that means nobody can practice it. Anybody who deviates from this would break the law. So this even primitive societies follow without enshrining it in any rule book, without having specified agencies like judiciary, police, like, right? So let's see. Now simple societies basically work on the customary law. Customary law क्या हो गया? Which is based on their customs. And again I'm saying, do not try to understand it from the modern rationality. वो नहीं हो पाएगा, ठीक है? Because modern rationality or modern behavior today, our behavior is more towards reformation than retribution. What is reformation and retribution? Reformation is to, if there is anybody who has deviated from the accepted norm, that means if he has committed some crime is where the deviation would come, right? We will not try and punish that person. Punishment would be retribution. We will not punish that person, but we will try to reform that person. And what is jails? Basically jails we see in a very negative way, because of the conditions there are, right? But jail, the idea of jail is basically to reform the person, to make that person again conform to the ideals of the rule book, right? And when the person comes out of the jail, he is a better person, he does not commit any crime again, and he becomes a very reformed person. This is the idea of reformation. So we today, jaise in the times of even Supreme Court says, where death sentence is a rare thing, whereas jail is the thing you should always try for the person who has committed crime. That means death sentence only in very rarest of rare occasions. That means we do not try to punish people, we try to reform them. But this modern rationality doesn't apply on the primitive societies, because they do not think like that. Unke liye even punishment is fine, because they do not know how to reform the person, right? So वहाँ पे punishment भी चलता है, reformation भी चलता है, many things. We'll see about it. So वहाँ पे there are two kind of things. One is collective responsibility, which is basically that if one clan, even if one person in a clan has done any crime. For example, they have done any theft. Now the whole clan will be responsible for the punishment. That means even if the one person has done it, the whole clan will face the punishment from the other groups, right? So this is collective responsibility. And then there is weird guilt. Weird guilt kya hota hai? Basically, it's a form of compensation. Now how will you compensate? For example, one person has committed theft, right? So now he would be punished that his own whole assets would be destroyed, or he will have to give the feast to the aggrieved party and his clan, like that. So this is the weird guilt. So this kind of compensation, weird guilt, happens in Polynesians, right? Samoans, वहाँ पे valuable gift giving is done. For example, anybody has committed a theft, ठीक है? In modern times, I will say he has committed a theft of 10 rupees. Now he will give a feast which may cause him like 100 rupees, right? So this is the kind of punishment which is given. Then, because they have like belief in this supernatural spirit, ghosts, so many a times, you know, the punishment is that they think that the person who has committed the crime, he will face the wrath of the supernatural. That means the god will ultimately take care of that person. So this is also a way to, you know, this also keeps the people in conformity with the law, because anybody who deviates from the law, he will face the wrath of the supernatural. So this is one way. Then spirits and ghosts में भी बहुत विश्वास है. So anybody who commits a crime will be touted as a person who is a witch or a sorcerer. So ये sorcerers and witches are the people जो black magic करते हैं, right? And black magic उनमें it is considered very negative, right? So any person who commits black magic and all are often killed also. So उससे भी they people are you know, they feel scared that we should not be named as sorcerers or witches, like that. ठीक है? Civil and criminal law both exist. Like we have talked about कि many a times they will kill, revenge will be taken. Revenge will be taken, like they will kill. For example, somebody has killed a person of the other tribe, so now the other tribe will come and kill the person itself. ठीक है? So that will be revenge. That will be criminal law. And civil law would be like compensation. ठीक है? Compensation कैसे? Like they'll be civil law में they'll be gossip, they'll be mockery of that person, public ridicule कर लेंगे, right? ठीक है? There'll be avoidance of reciprocity. Reciprocity is reciprocation, वो खत्म हो जाएगी. Person would be ostracized and isolated from the group. ठीक है? फाइन भरने की ज़रूरत पड़ सकती है. So both criminal, civil law, both exist. No full-time specialist. Of course, they do not have judiciary, they do not have police. It is mostly the elders, right? Because they are kinship-based societies. So it is mostly the elders who would take on the work of law, you know, enforcing the law, making the laws, rules, right? Like that. Radcliffe Brown says that it is the social sanction instead of law. That means basically they do not have laws, they have social sanction. That means what is right and wrong according to their society, what is their customary law, what their society at large believes. And any person who breaks the perspective of the society is the person who has committed a crime, basically. So identify कैसे करते हैं? There are ordeals, oaths, oracles. Now let me just clear it. I will make you understand what is it. Oaths तो simple हो गया, which even today is taken जब हम जैसे anybody who visits the court and has to take an oath, तो वो बोलेंगे ना, I take the oath in the name of the God that I shall always speak the truth in the court, right? So वही हो गया oath. ठीक है? oath हो गया कि आप you know either about आप oath लेते हो supernatural की, God की, like that. Ordeal क्या होता है? Basically they will be made to do something. For example, in mailers what they do na, they have to lick a very hot axe 3 times, and if they come out you know unhurt, that means they are not hurt by licking that hot axe, that means they have not committed the crime. And if they get hurt by you know by licking that hot axe, that means they have committed a crime. So again इसको modern rationality से नहीं देख सकते, because this is very unusual, this is not scientific ना. Of course कोई hot axe को lick करेगा तो obviously टंग बर्न हो जाएगी, राइट, बट वो ऐसे विश्वास नहीं करते. ओरेकल्स इज लाइक इन investigation, like they will ask questions, right, about the situation, and based on that question answer thing, they will come upon a viewpoint that whether this person has done it, the crime, he has committed the crime or not. So that is ordeals. So this was all about how the simple societies law, how they enforce law, how they make laws. So I hope you have understood this. I hope you have liked the lecture. We have completed the topic, and tomorrow also we are going to start with a very, very important chapter in the syllabus. And please guys, like, share and subscribe, and thank you.